The storyline in Black Ops 6 Zombies is picking up nicely with the release of the tomb. The ending cutscene gives us some juicy information to do with Sam's hidden agenda in the storyline. Why did Richthofen really create her? Was Project Janus all a front? And where are we going next? So in the Tomb, our latest Zombies map, the reason our characters, Weaver, Carver, Grey and Maya travel here is to collect the Sentinel artifact. Buried for, well, let's just say an extremely long time. Eventually, we fight against the Sentinel artifact and defeat it, finally collecting it. And upon doing so, Sam tells us what we need to do next.
Raptor 1, I'm at the LZ. Let's get the hell out of here.
There is more to be done now that you've secured the Sentinel artifact. Bring it directly to me. I have gathered every available file on the history and previous uses of this ancient device. It appears several times in the historical record. Some date back to ancient Egypt. I have deciphered steps to activate and control it. The artifact requires an infusion of exotic materials. Unique elements that can only be harvested here at Liberty Falls. I have already ensured everything we need is ready for your arrival. You will see your lost agent Maxis again soon. I'll be waiting.
Sam tells us now that we've collected the Sentinel artifact, we need to bring it to her. We know that she is located in Richthofen's mansion in his basement. This giant sphere here is Sam's hub. She tells us as she's gathered every available file on the history and previous uses of it to bring it directly to her. And as we see her scrubbing through the Sentinel artifact's historical records, some of the stuff she has on file is super interesting and suspicious. This file which she's pulled up, which is named Rhodes 278, it reads, and well, it is a little bit difficult for me to read because it's so blurred, but trying to make it out, it says the Odin artifact, Danu artifact, Ra artifact and Zeus artifact all share a common morphology and function, with surface details corresponding to the cultures where they first appeared. The commonalities from such far-flung sources suggest widespread early contacts with a dark dimension and a point of origin beyond the terrestrial realm. Before artifacts, there are of course ones that we have witnessed before in the Chaos storyline back in Black Ops 4. Sam then pulls up Rhodes file 118, which says, and thus did Cortifex render unto Anantep, I've never heard that word before, the instrument of eternal renewal, and bid him feed it shards of tempest that gates of Duat bend to his will. She then brings up craft file 487, which mentions the Odin artifact. Rhodes' collections of ancient texts and depictions of Sentinel artifacts led me to conclude that they function as batteries for gathering, storing and manipulating the substance that came to be known in alchemy as prima materia. Descriptions of the rituals indicate each artifact is ringed with receptacles that need to be completely filled in order to render the artifact operational. We then see Richthofen pull up Richthofen file 342, where she tells us that what she has done is deciphered steps so that they can activate and control it. But the artifact requires an infusion of exotic materials, unique elements that can only be harvested where she is located at Liberty Falls. And she then brings up a document called S.A.M's file 49. We know S.A.M was the owner of the mansion in Liberty Falls, the one that Richthofen set up base in. It says, "Hark my flock, your shepherd has heard the great voice from beyond, the voice that drew shamans, does that say? And medicine men here for centuries before our arrival, the voice that designated us as its chosen." I generally cannot make out what the rest of that says, it's way too blurred, but it's essentially a file about S.A.M preaching after being contacted by a voice from beyond. She then continues scrubbing through her files, where she tells us she has ensured everything that we need is ready for our arrival, and once this is all done, we will get to see the real Samantha Maxis once she is rescued from the Dark Ether. And the final thing that's quite interesting, which is worth pointing out on this, is as we zoom into Richthofen's mansion, you can see on Samantha's files the names of our power-ups: Max Ammo, Insta-Kill, Fire Sale, Full Power, which could suggest to us, in fact, to me it does suggest, if these commands of the power-ups are on Samantha's files, then it is Sam, this AI version of her, that is providing us with them, or at least she is playing some kind of role in providing us with the power-ups. So besides from that, all pretty straightforward stuff, right? She's talking about the Sentinel artifact's history and what we need to do with it next, bring it to her at the mansion, because that's where the materials are so that they can activate and control it. But if you combine this along with a couple of the intel radios in the tomb, and I guess we knew this anyway in the back of our minds, she was already a suspicious character, and I guess if you've been following along with the storyline, you would have known this in the back of your mind anyway, but Sam I don't think is telling us the full truth. She is lying to us, and she's only helping us for her own agenda. Our agenda, of course, is to rescue the real Samantha Maxis from the Dark Ether, which this AI version of Sam told us if we get the Sentinel artifact, we'll be able to do that. But knowing what we know about this AI Sam, she is on her own mission. She was originally created by Richtofen using scans of her brain that it took before she vanished into the Dark Ether. He created this AI version of her called the Synaptic Algorithm Module, or SAM. So essentially an AI version of her, but as with all AI, it learns the more information it gathers and as time progresses, but it seems this AI version of Sam has got to a point where she's almost sentient and actually doesn't want to be AI anymore, doesn't want to be a robot. She wants to be a real person. She wants to be the real Samantha Maxis, have her own body potentially, not be trapped in this robotic sphere. So it could just be that Sam's agenda in all of this is to get the Sentinel artifact, not to bring back the real Samantha Maxis, but turn herself into her almost. Give herself a real body. And like I said, in the tomb, there are a couple of radios you need to listen to. This first one is of a conversation between Richtofen and Sam, back when they were still on kind of good terms. One of the reasons Richtofen created Sam was so that she would help him and provide him knowledge that the real Samantha Maxis had within her brain, but you can see the two got to a point where their relationship became estranged, and Samantha started to become less obedient to Richtofen and would go against him. She would, well, it sounds weird, but AI Sam would treat Richtofen like shit, and I don't really blame her after everything he's done to her.
What are you doing up so late, Edward?
What? Oh, nothing. Just tinkering with some subroutines.
You know I can see you, Edward. You haven't touched your keyboard in an hour.
Yes, well, perhaps I got a bit lost in thought. Does that ever happen to you?
No.
Ah, I suppose it wouldn't.
Are you well, Edward?
I'm fine. And you? How's the song?
I just finished it.
Really? Can I hear it?
No. It's not for you, Edward. You lack the artistic soul to understand what I'm feeling.
Do I now?
Yes, you do. My song is about life, while you concern yourself only with death. I see it in everything you do.
If that's what you think, then perhaps you're not as smart as I thought you were.
Or you are not, Edward.
You want to know what it means to be alive? You never will. You're a pile of microprocessors etched into sentience. I may not be a saint, but at least I have a soul.
After all the things you've told me about yourself, Edward, are you sure about that?
Richtofen said to Sam that sometimes he gets lost in thought. He then asked her, does that happen to you? Sam said no. Richtofen said back, I suppose it wouldn't. Richtofen then asked Sam how is the song that she's composing. She told him she'd finished it. Richtofen asked if he could hear it, and Sam said back, no, it's not for you. You lack the artistic soul to understand what I'm feeling. My song is about life, while your concern is only with death. I see it in everything you do. Richtofen then says, if that's what you think, then perhaps you're not as smart as I thought you were, and he finishes by telling her, I may not be a saint, but at least I have a soul. To which Sam replies, after what you've told me about yourself, Edward, are you sure about that? And then he combined that conversation with one between Sam and Revanov in the tomb, and it becomes pretty clear that Sam no longer wants to be AI. She wants to be a real person, to experience what it's like having her own soul. She wants to be Samantha Maxis.
What was she like, Sergei?
Ooh. Oh. Her.
I don't mean to pry. It's just that I have her memories. I talk like her. But I don't know what it was like to be around her.
Short was me. Why do you care?
Because we need to understand each other if we are to work together, Sergei. I need to understand how you felt about her.
It is complicated.
What happened to you after she left?
Well, after she abandoned us, you mean?
I thought she sacrificed herself.
Different words, same outcome.
They're not the same.
They are. We are here and she is gone. What else is there to say?
Sergei, please. This is important. We need to trust each other.
Why? So I can pour my heart out to you, and then you can turn around and do the same thing she did?
No, of course not.
You want to know what happened when Maxis left? I lost myself. The moment after her sacrifice, I turned my back on everything she stood for. Does that tell you what you need to know about me?
I'm sure she would understand, Sergei. She would...
She would what? You said it yourself. You might have her voice. You might even have her memories. But Sam, hear me when I say this. You are not her. The sooner you come to terms with that, the sooner we can start getting somewhere.
So it could be that when we do eventually take the Sentinel artifact to her and it's activated and we do whatever trial we need to in order to be able to harness prime materia, instead of using that to bring back the real Samantha Maxis from the Dark Ether, the AI version of Sam will instead use it to free her and turn herself into almost the real Samantha Maxis. But it won't really be her. It will still be her AI self, but now with a soul and a body perhaps. It's interesting because I definitely don't think AI Sam is evil at all. I just think Richtofen pushed her to a point where she wanted to feel what it was like to be real, and the only way for her to do that is perhaps through manipulating prime materia, and so she's using us to get it, telling us that we could rescue the real Samantha Maxis. So I'm gonna leave that one there. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.